Hello everyone and welcome. I am Rita Marie and welcome to my FlossTube channel. Today it's the 8th of April, so it's a week since I last filmed. Yay! Welcome to everyone that is a new subscriber. I really appreciate having you here, and to all of you that are sticking with me through everything that is going on. I love the support that I get, and the fact that you come back every time I do a FlossTube to hear me ramble on. So thank you. I wanted everyone to know that Stitching Jules here on FlossTube, she has made a list on her blog. She has a FlossTube channel, and she has also a blog that she is doing kind of like a little bit simultaneously, where she posts updates about her whips and so on. If you don't watch her already, you should. She does some amazing full coverage projects. She is actually one of the first one that got me into watching more diverse floss tubes, because I couldn't get enough of her full coverage, so I started searching after more full coverage project and people doing them on FlossTube. So if you don't see her, watch her. But my point, going back to the point, she has made a list on her blog over every FlossTuber she has found or people have mentioned to her that is out there on YouTube, because YouTube doesn't always have the best search engines. She talks about it in one of her videos, the way that when she searches something on FlossTube, she always gets the same people over and over again instead of new ones. So it can be really hard to find new people to subscribe to. So she has made a list over FlossTubers. I think it's now over 300 FlossTubers, so go FlossTube! And she is also so kind that if she knows that someone has less than 1,000 subscribers, she will mark that with, I don't remember what you call it in English, but it's this little star symbol. I believe that's what she uses. Asterisk, can that be correct? And she marks it off, so if there is some, those can often be the hardest FlossTubers to find, the ones that have under 1,000 subscribers, because how YouTube and the search engine works, those don't get much attention at all. So go over there if you need someone new to watch, and you can slowly add to your list. It's in alphabetical order, so I don't. If it was me that needed more FlossTubers right now, I would definitely most likely do a random number generator and pick out people. But anyway, that's a really good. It's a really good thing that she has done that. So I just wanted to let everyone know that there is a blog, and if I remember, don't hold me accountable, if I remember I will put a link below, but I'm really bad with the links, that's why I'm just not doing them. And instead, if I forget, please ask me and I will find it. It's not that I do not want to let you know, it's just how my brain works. Now I have said it, then it goes out of my brain and I totally forget. And yeah, and since my brain is how it is, I don't always especially when I'm editing after I'm doing floss tubes and such. I am usually very ill, so I have trouble, like now, I have trouble putting words to things, and yeah, so that's just how I am, and I can't really apologize for it because it will not change until they find a cure for my illness, basically. So, but please let me know. As I said, it's not that I don't want to let you know, it's just the fact that I usually don't remember. I struggle to remember things when I am ill. My brain is blank, basically. So, and one more thing I wanted to say about the Magical School of Stitches. I am really sorry if anybody thought that I didn't like the group at all, because that's not the thing. I do love the group, and I also tried in my editing to write that I do believe the group will become better, just because of the fact that there is constantly small changes done to try and fix the issues that are appearing. And to Kate and Vicky, I am so sorry that I didn't take things directly to you. There is some reasons behind it that I'm not going to go into, but I just want to say I'm sorry the way the message was delivered. I realize now that I should talk to you first. And in all honesty, I didn't plan on talking about it on YouTube at all. It's just when I'm having issues, things leak through sometimes. And since I look at all of you as my friends, and when I sit here and film, I really feel like I'm talking to friends. So of course I talk about the things that are troubling me and not troubling me, that I love as my stitching. And I'm sorry if that was delivered the wrong way. I really am. But I'm glad it was brought to light, because there is already been done changes. You admins, you are amazing. And that's also why I believe that the group would improve. So there is already, if you belong to School of Magical Stitches, and there is a post now, you can go in and give constructive criticism. Be nice. I'm just saying, be nice. Give them constructive criticism, and they already are planning to try and do some small changes here and there. And I really think that will make the group even more amazing than it is. So sorry if I made anyone feel that the group isn't a good group, because I love that group. And some weeks I am a butterfly on the wall, and some weeks I post and talk and are chatty. It depends on how I feel and my mood and so on. And if I'm a little bit wiggly, it's because I'm sitting on Pilates, a ball you train on. In Norway we call it Pilates. So I'm actually sitting on that right now. That's a new thing I'm going to try and do when filming, just because I have found, like now my brain isn't always working the best, but it keeps me from going down the really long rabbit holes. So, and I need the training for my body. So it will drain me some more from energy, but at the same time, while I'm doing it, my body keeps using enough energy that my brain functions better. So it just means I need to take a nap after I film. No problems. So that's why I'm a little bit jumpy and wiggly, and if it's too bad, let me know and I will quit. But I really think that this will be a good thing for me in the long run, so I'm going with it. All right. Last time I was a little bit upset the fact that I had started 2 WIPs for one challenge in Magical Stitches, and I fixed that problem by just finishing one of them. Basically, with this week's homework. I made the calculations. I think I used a whole day where basically I sat and counted all the stitches on the pattern itself. The ones I had done, the ones that were left, and I made the calculation, okay, if I do one of the perks of the challenge, how many percentage am I? Because one of the 3 things you were going to do was have a project that is 75% or more completed and stitched 300 stitches. So I was like, okay, I can do the dark one. I can do the, if you have some changes to the project, because I have none of the original colors in this one. And I made a calculation and I found out that with doing the first 2 challenges, I will get to between 75 and 76% completion on this project. And then I didn't like what I had to do, so I frogged a little bit and I stitched even more. But basically I stitched for 5.5 hours and I got the house done. So here it was the last time you saw it. And here it is now. So I used a Silks for You for the red one. It was pretty close to, I think the original was Turkish red. And this is a silk Lamy braid, so it's a little bit sparkly. The blue one, that is a little bit round. And then I needed for semi-sane stitchers some stitches in a copper color. So instead of having the windows white, I did them in a copper color. I think it's one was 920. And then I also did that for the door because I wanted a wooden door. In Norway, we build usually our house just in wood. Of course, the basement is in not wood, and I don't have the word what it is built in, but most of it is built in wood, and some old houses especially had those traditional wooden doors. So I tried to go for it, but it's mixed in too much, so I ripped it out and I did it in the roof color instead. And so yeah, so most of it is silk except for that copper color, and of course the lighting is terrible. So I will be right back. Okay, it's a little bit better now, but yeah, I can't do too much about it. Right now we are missing some lamps in our living room, and we are going to fix it. I just don't know when. Hopefully we can do it now when it's Easter and my husband is home. So that was a finish. Onto my WIPs. Last time I was going to continue doing my Winter Queen to finish off some challenges. The picture is upstairs, so here is a picture of what it will look like and what it looked like the last time you saw it. here it is now. So I'll try to fold it a little bit better. Yeah, I know I'm not good at ironing stuff multiple times, so I ironed this once and then put it on a Q-snap, and yeah. So I reached the bottom of the dress. This is actually the bottom. The dress here at the bottom is kind of cut off on the pattern, so it will be a straight line over here. And I filled in all this white that was in here and managed to do the back stitching for the outer part and the silver metallic, and so on. And I actually find a new method to work my metallics that works wonders, actually. I ordered some beeswax from Hand Dyed by Rolanda, and I was figuring that, okay, I can at least try it on my metallics, but I didn't like having it all over the strands, because I know most likely it would go away when washing or something, but yeah, I just didn't like it. But what I did was I made a really, at the end of the Krynic, because you usually have to work them singles with one strand. They are made so you only work one strand. At the edge of the strand, I put like a really thick layer of beeswax just at the end, which made it so much easier to actually thread the needle. I'm not a floss licker. I don't use needle threaders. I just thread the needle. I usually sometimes make a little loop on the floss and pull it through the needle, or just pull it right through. That's what I do with Krynic since it's so thick. So when I did that, the beeswax did hold the Krynic together at the end, and it was easy to get on the needle. And when I stitched with it, it didn't fray because it stopped it from fraying. And since it was just at the end of the floss, that end was cut off in the end, so I didn't get like a whole of beeswax color everywhere on my project. So that was really neat, actually. So that's what I did. Next up, I needed and wanted to at least stitch a little bit on my baby sampler. Just right over an hour I worked on it. And it will look like this when it's finished. It's a cross stitch by Joan Elliott. It was from a magazine. I don't know which one because I bought it off eBay just to cut out pieces, but it is the World of Cross Stitching. I just don't know what issue. So, and here it was the last time you saw it. And here it is now. So for semi-seam stitchers, I needed some yellow and blue colors. So I stitched most of the moon. It's almost done, and I did all of the cross stitching in the bird. So when that is done, I can actually do the back stitching, because I'm planning to do the back stitching as I go on this one, because there is so much small details in it, and it will really be nice to actually see that this is a smiling moon and this is a cute little bird sitting on the moon. So hoping to get that more out this month. I'm not feeling like I have to hurry this yet, which I know will be a problem in the long run, because it is quite a lot of stitching that needs to be done, and I need to get it going. This is just a smoothie I made myself. Breakfast. And after I made the smoothie, I throw some corn in it. I don't remember the English name for what I'm using. So if you're wondering really, really bad, let me know and I will comment to you what it is. And lastly, the last thing I have worked on is my Lady and the Tiger. I totally forgot to take the picture where you can see where it was last time. So hopefully by now you know how it looks, what it will look like in the end. And I will just insert a picture of where it was last time you saw it. Here. And here it is now. So yeah, it's looking really, really good. And I am almost complete with page 3. If you see this line right here, that's the edge of the page basically. So the tiger is done on page 3 and I just have the background left. And I think I have like 200, 300 stitches left on by the numbers. So, but I will continue working the page until it's done because it's so close. I feel it's stupid to leave a page with maybe 100, 200 stitches left to do when it's a full coverage page. I rather just work it. So I have done almost 12 hours on work into that, and some of it is due to the 24-hour cross-stitch challenge that I suddenly realized was a thing the day it started, basically. So I signed up for 10 to 12 hours because I knew my son and husband was traveling to another town to go in a birthday. I knew I had some hours in the day to myself on the Saturday where I could sit and stitch, but they were supposed to leave early because my husband wanted to use some time when he first traveled to that town, and he just, I don't know, it was supposed to leave at 10 a.m. and didn't leave until 2 p.m. So I managed about 7 or 8 hours of stitching. I didn't do the full 24 hours just because my illness will not allow that. So I joined the hashtag Team Sleep. And yeah, so I got a lot done. That was my whips. It's a relief that it's not a 1.5 hour video with me showing whips and whips and whips. And that's why I think and hope I maybe can continue doing these updates once a week. So this week's homework is stitch on 2 different whips that are screaming for your attention, 500 stitches on each. And I have not decided what to do, like for real. What I do know I am going to do, I'm going to look at my whip list that I have here. It's just an easy, fast whip list, and try and do something that usually I can't fit into the Magical Stitches challenges beforehand, or things I have an itch to stitch but haven't gotten to yet. But it's only 2 whips, so I most likely could have 5 whips on that list screaming for attention. So the ones I am considering is my Butterfly Galore, because I want to finish it this year, it's on my stitch 9 challenge. But since it's half stitches, I'm always a little bit unsecure if I want to do that, because you suddenly have to do double this amount of stitches, but not this week. That is actually one of the new changes they have done. It's an amazing change. No, the half stitches you still have to do. If you do penalty stitches, you don't have to do double up. Now it's like, instead of, if you have not a whip that fit and you have to do 500 stitches plus 500 stitches beforehand. But now you only have to do 500 stitches plus 250 stitches. So that's a change. But if you are having half stitches, you still have to do those. So, okay. I am considering doing butterflies galore because I have that on my stitch 9 challenge. So it would be nice to do. But since it's in 10 stitches, I have to do 1,000 stitches, and that worries me, having to double the amount. In all honesty, I know that it's possible for me and I shouldn't be worried, but I still am. So I usually don't do that one for magical stitches, but I should do, or at least make it a priority to do when I'm not doing challenges. I don't know. So butterfly galore is one of those. Maui princess is one, and she's not one because I'm still unsure if I actually want to continue doing her or find a repurpose for the fabric. She was a freebie and I do love her, but I have other works by Hannah Lynn that I much rather want to do first. So she might, I might end up not having her on my whip list and UFOing her. And if I'm ever going to do her, then it's going to be a restart, because I only have a little bit over 200 stitches in. So it's better to do it now than when I have, say, a page finish on it. So I don't know, I still want to do her, but at the same time I don't want to do her right now, so we'll see. Esmeralda has not come out to play since I started her for Mania last year, so she might be one that I am going to use this time. Tapestry is also one that I might use for this challenge, because that is a project I really struggle to fit anything, because yeah, it's a geometric pattern, but there's not much different details in it. It just looks like a bunch of flowers, so I really can't fit that into homework, so I might do that one. Stargazer is an option. I might do Tinkerbell for the Disney style, or start one of the ones that I actually really want to do first, like Belle or Esmeralda, because I have the Esmeralda also. I might do the Black Pearl by the Primitive Hair. That was Link is My Homeboy's birthday sale last year, and I have almost not worked on her at all. And the last one I am considering is the No Frogging Style by 8-Bit Stitch. And that is mainly because I really looked into diagonal parking. I didn't like it on my mini still hair, so I was looking at what patterns I did have and which one would maybe be a good way a good project to do diagonal stitching on, and that is one of them. So yeah, I'm considering doing that one just to scratch the itch I'm having for doing some diagonal parking. So yeah, that's what I'm considering this week. I also have started to plan for Mania what I want to do. And Jessie Marie, she was so kind to explain what Monogamania is for her, what her intention behind that was. And it's not just to stitch on one whip for a whole month or for 15 or 19 days. It's to put in choose a whip and focus on that one. Give it some good attention that you haven't before done. And at the same time, I am binge watching Sammy J Stitches. And last year, she did, I think it was for Ultimate Cross Stitch Challenge Group. Ultimate Cross Stitch Group, I think it's what's called. They had a challenge each month you got like a calendar over the month where it said each day how many stitches you were supposed to do on your focus whip. You did choose one whip to focus on that month. And I was thinking maybe I could combine those two, and maybe I could also continue doing them in the future. So for Mania, that will be my tryout period. The challenge Sammy did went from 50 to, I think it was 150 stitches each day. Between there you could have a day with like 75, 150, 125 stitches, etc. And it varied over the month. I don't know if I want to have just 50 stitches, but at the same time, I am thinking to do it the same way Sammy did, that you don't need to stitch every day on it because you can play catch up. So that's what I'm thinking, and then 50 stitches isn't too bad because it will maybe be 50 stitches plus 150 stitches. So yeah, I am considering making my own, where I will use if I use the 50 to 150 stitches, or I might do 50 to 250 stitches maybe, just to have some days where you get a little bit more, especially since it's Mania and it's Monogamania. I'm supposed to focus even more on it in a way, because with the one Sammy J did, they always did just over 3,000 stitches, and in honesty that isn't much of a focus stitching for me, so I might increase that number of from 50 to a higher number, just so the overall amount of stitches I will do in a month is much higher. So and the way I'm most likely going to do it is give each amount of stitches a number and just do a random number generator and draw each day and put that in. So if 50 is number 1 and 75 is number 2, 100 is number 3, then I will, and that was the amount I was going to do, then I would put the number generator 1, 2, 3 and just randomize, and if it came up number 2, okay, that's 75 stitches that day. Number 1, 50 stitches that day. Number 2 again, 75 stitches the third day, etc, etc. And for Mania, I am thinking I will do either Lion King, because that is for my son and I want to finish it, or my Lady and the Tiger, because I really want to get some good work into her. And if that works out okay, then my thinking is I will give you most likely the 1st or 2nd month in May, if I manage to film, to give you an option for maybe 3 to 5 whips, something like that, where you can choose what whip you want me to focus on. So they still will be a little bit controlled from my side, so it's not like you can go into my whip list and say, that one I want you to work on. I will give you options and you can vote on which one you want me to do the most. And if you have anything you really want me to focus on, that let me know below and I will consider it for doing that kind of focusing on a project each month. And the reason I want to do that by itself is the fact Mania will be a full coverage project I am doing, but going forward into the year, my thinking is that I want to do it for non-full coverage projects, because with full coverage fanatics, I get to focus in on full coverage projects, but I don't get to focus in on the other projects. And with Magical Stitches, there easily is, I do a little bit here and a little bit there, and nothing really get any focus except for my full coverage. So, so my thinking is that I will get some focus in on a non-full coverage project also, because I have a lot of them and I also like stitching on them and finish them. So yeah. And what whip I'm using for Mania, it's not decided yet. For all I know, the last day I changed my mind and I will do something else. But in the beginning, it will most likely be either a whip that I have set a really high goal for, because I want to try and finish it this year or next year, like my Lady and the Tiger, or my Lion King that I want to finish this year, or one of my pieces for the Stitch 9 challenge. I have 6 left to do. One of them is a small one, so that I'm not worried about at all. The other ones takes a little more stitching to get done. 2 of them are medium to large projects. And the temperature garden, I don't know if I will do it each and every day, because I tried that and that really broke my stitching bug. So I think I rather want to pull that out for Magical Stitches when they have between 200 to 300 stitches on a whip and I can fit that one in. Or just assign a couple of days each month to that one and do like 250 stitches, set my own goal and just do that without Magical Stitches or anything. Because one of the things Magical Stitches have taught me that I'm most likely going to do going forward is the fact I work better on my whips if I have a stitch count goal instead of daily rotation or something like that. So, and that is also why I'm making the overview of how much I can stitch each month now, because next year Magical Stitches will be done, but they will have a new book and most likely new challenges in the same way since it's so popular. And there's a good chance I'm joining in on that. But if I don't join in on that and I decide to go my own way next year, I want to have an overview of how much I can stitch each month, because right now I'm sitting and I'm thinking, oh, 1,000 stitches, that is so many stitches. I can't get that done in a week, and then I can easily finish that off in a day or two. So before Magical Stitches, my view on how many stitches I actually did do was completely different from what I'm actually doing. So since Magical Stitches have made me start counting stitches, I see a little bit more how much I can do. And I have 2 months now where I have reached 15,000 stitches in a month. And February were less because of there is less days, but also because I did stitch less. So yeah, my plan is to try and going forward, at least with the calendar, have maybe about 5,000 stitches that I do on a project each month, and I have a new focus project each month. And I don't need to work on it each and every day, but it will help to work on it each and every day to get it done. Or just, so yeah, so when I don't have any extra stitching credit left to do in Magical Stitches, or any homework or any ultimate stitching challenges, my plan is to have a monthly WIP that I can work on and focus on. And if I can fit it into some of the Magical School of Stitches challenges, that is great. If not, I don't. But at the same time, I'm having a set amount of stitches I want to do for that WIP in a month. And I think that can be a good thing, because switching so many projects, yes, I get a lot of projects done on each one, but at the same time, I feel I don't get to have that good progress stitching going on. There is more stitch, 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 put it away, find a new one, stitch, 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 and I'm not getting to enjoy the progress as much as I have done before. And last month, when I just decided I'm gonna just do my Lady and the Tiger and stitch on that from here on out, and I did, and that was amazing. And I got that good progress stitching. I got in a good routine with the bigger project where I remember, oh, that symbol is that color and that symbol is that color, so it goes much faster when I'm switching floss and parking and doing all the fun stuff when stitching. So yeah, that's why I want to have a focus WIP. And so yeah, and most likely what my plan also is, when my no starts are done, I have set a goal of at least 6 months, and hopefully in 9 months, and dreamingly the whole year. My plan is that I want to try and make a list over where I prioritize what WIPs I want to start and don't want to start, and can add in changes as I feel. And when my no starts are done, I'm gonna have the finished 3 WIPs, either a full WIP or a page, and then I can start a new whip. There will also be some modification to that rule, because since I am thinking of doing diagonal stitching, I'm also planning on maybe do my fantasy world diagonal stitching, and I want to do the diagonal stitching for the whole piece, not just page by page. Either the Jessie Marie method or Karen the Needlebugs method. Maybe I will have some whips with both. And then I'm most likely going to when the diagonals are really long, maybe have finish up one diagonal and that is seen as a finish, because there will be a long time where I get page finishes since I don't focus page by page. But we'll see what I do. That is right now what I feel and have an itch to do. Some diagonal stitching, diagonal parking. Try and make at least one of those two types of diagonal stitching work for me. See which one I like the best and try different ways of doing them. So yeah, that was my plans. Thank you all so much for watching, hearing me ramble on. You really makes my day, and some days when it's hard to come out of bed, it's nice to know you have friends where you can turn on the camera, sit and chat, and you know they will be there for you. So thank you so much. That means a lot to me. So now I will love you and leave you. Hope you enjoyed. I did. And hopefully I will see you next week. Goodbye.